Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're taking a deep dive into a topic I know a lot of you are interested in, the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah, it seems like everywhere you turn these days, people are talking about the Mediterranean diet, how healthy it is.
Right, and I know a lot of our listeners are looking for ways to live healthier lives, so we wanted to really break it down for you.
Yeah, decode all the hype.
Exactly, and see what the science actually says about this way of eating.
It's interesting because a lot of people, when they hear the word diet, they immediately think about restrictions and, having to give up all the foods they love.
Yeah, deprivation.
But the Mediterranean way of eating is really less about restrictions and more about embracing like a whole way of life.
So it's more than just a diet.
It really is. It's inspired by the traditional food habits of countries around the Mediterranean Sea, places like, Greece, Italy, Spain,
All those places known for their beautiful landscapes.
and their long, healthy lives.
Exactly, so it's more like an eating pattern than a strict diet.
Exactly. And there's no one-size-fits-all definition, even within these Mediterranean regions. There are variations.
So there's flexibility.
A lot. And that's actually a good thing.
Okay, I like it.
You can adapt it to your own lifestyle and preferences.
So what are the core principles then? If I were to picture a typical Mediterranean plate, what would I be loading up on?
Just imagine vibrant colors, fresh flavors, lots of plant-based foods. So you're thinking colorful vegetables,
Okay, I'm seeing it.
fruits bursting with flavor, hearty legumes,
Okay, love those.
wholesome whole grains. Don't forget those crunchy nuts and seeds.
Oh, can't forget those. And of course, you have to add those aromatic herbs and spices.
Right. That's what makes Mediterranean cuisine so delicious.
Oh, yes, so flavorful. Now, I know we can't talk about the Mediterranean diet without talking about olive oil, right?
Absolutely. Extra virgin olive oil, that's the star player here. It's the primary source of fat in the Mediterranean diet, and, research has shown that it's just packed with heart-healthy fats and antioxidants.
That's right. And, I was looking at some of the research that you sent me, and I found something interesting about different types of dairy fat.
Oh, yes.
It mentioned something about goat and sheep milk.
Yeah, that was a fascinating detail. So goat and sheep milk are actually more common in Mediterranean regions than cow's milk, and studies suggest that their fat content might be less likely to contribute to, clogged arteries.
Which is a big risk factor for heart disease.
Exactly. The term for that is atherogenic, meaning something that promotes the formation of fatty plaques in the arteries.
Got it. So maybe opting for goat or sheep cheese could be a good choice.
Right. It's all about making those little informed choices based on the research. Now, alongside all those plant-based stars and the healthy fats, you'll also find moderate amounts of fish, poultry, eggs, cheese, and yogurt.
Okay, so a good mix.
Yeah, and red meat is enjoyed a little bit less frequently.
Makes sense.
And a glass of wine with dinner is optional, always in moderation, of course.
Always in moderation.
Yes.
So it sounds like a very balanced way of eating. You mentioned limiting red meat. Does that mean other things are off limits too?
Well, like most healthy eating patterns, the Mediterranean way emphasizes cutting back on processed foods, added sugars, and refined grains. It's really about choosing whole, unprocessed foods as much as possible.
Got it. So we've got this picture of this beautiful, delicious Mediterranean plate in our minds. But what does the science say about its health benefits? Is it all just hype?
Not at all. The Mediterranean diet has been rigorously studied for decades, and the evidence supporting its health benefits is very compelling.
Yeah, I saw so many studies.
One of the earliest studies was the 7 countries study, and it was led by Ansel Keys. They were initially focused on the role of saturated fat in heart health. But over time, the research just revealed a much broader picture.
And you sent me this one study, the pre-Dime study, that really caught my eye. It looked at the Mediterranean diet and heart health.
Yes. The pre-Diamond study actually revealed something remarkable. So they found that supplementing the Mediterranean diet with either nuts or extra virgin olive oil led to even greater reductions in the risk of major cardiovascular events, things like heart attacks and strokes.
Wow, so it's not just about preventing those big events, it's about improving your overall cardiovascular health.
Precisely. And the benefits extend way beyond heart health. Research suggests that the Mediterranean diet may play a role in preventing type 2 diabetes,
Oh, wow.
metabolic syndrome.
What's that?
So that's a cluster of conditions that increase your risk of heart disease, stroke, and diabetes.
Oh, wow.
Also, certain cancers, cognitive decline, and even might contribute to a longer lifespan.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That's incredible. So much more than just a diet.
It really is a holistic approach to health and well-being.
So we know it's on the plate. We know the science backs it up. But let's get practical. What are some actionable tips from the research that our listener can actually use?
Well, one of the biggest takeaways for me is the emphasis on fresh, seasonal ingredients. It's really about creating delicious meals from scratch using whole foods rather than relying on processed or prepackaged options.
Okay.
And the research really emphasizes choosing ingredients that are at their peak of flavor and nutritional value.
Right. And I love some of the meal examples that we saw in the research. Like for breakfast, they suggested things like Greek yogurt with berries and chia seeds,
No.
or whole grain toast with low-fat cheese and tomato.
Hmm.
Simple but delicious.
Absolutely. And for lunch, there was that lentil salad with feta and veggies, which is always a classic.
Yeah.
Or there was this unique charred broccoli tabbouleh that I thought was really interesting. So many options for just, flavorful, satisfying meals.
And dinner seemed like a playground of options, too. I saw salmon with mango salsa,
Oh, yeah.
or maybe chickpea spinach pancakes.
Yeah, there are so many possibilities for creating really delicious and nutritious meals with the Mediterranean diet. And speaking of exploring those possibilities, I think it's worth mentioning all the amazing Mediterranean recipes that are available online and in cookbooks.
Yes, it's a great way to expand your culinary horizons and maybe find some new favorite dishes.
It's an adventure for your taste buds.
And for your health, it's funny, when I think about these delicious Mediterranean meals, I always picture people enjoying them together, like big family gatherings or meals with friends.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that brings up another important point. It's not just about what you eat, but it's also about how you eat, right?
You're so right. That's where the Mediterranean lifestyle really comes in. It emphasizes enjoying meals with others, savoring food without distractions, being physically active, and embracing, just an overall joyful approach to life.
It's about that sense of connection, mindfulness, and balance that you're looking for. It's more than just the food on your plate.
It really is. It's about nourishing your mind, body, and soul. And while we've been talking about all the positives, we should be realistic. Some aspects of the Mediterranean diet, depending on where you live and your lifestyle, could be challenging to adopt.
Yeah, it's not always easy to make big changes overnight, right?
Exactly. And that's where, adaptation is key. Remember, it's not about strict adherence, but about incorporating those core principles in a way that works for you.
And I think the research even touched on that. It had some suggestions for adapting to different dietary needs and preferences.
Yeah, they talked about things like vegetarian options, gluten-free options, and even how the Mediterranean diet can be tailored for those of us who don't live in a Mediterranean country. It's really encouraging to know that it can be inclusive and accessible to everyone.
Well, that's good to hear. So before we wrap up this deep dive into the Mediterranean way of life, what would you say is the biggest takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
Well, I think it raises a really interesting question for all of you listening. Knowing all this about the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle, how might you incorporate its principles into your own life in a way that's both enjoyable and sustainable for you? It's not about copying everything exactly, but rather finding what resonates with you and making it your own.
I love that. It's like a personal journey of discovery, and it sounds delicious.
It is.
I'm thinking back to some of those meal examples from the research,
Yeah.
and that charred broccoli tabbouleh really has me intrigued. I think I'm going to have to try that one out.
You should. And there's just something really special about preparing a meal with those fresh, wholesome ingredients. It connects you to the food, and the process itself can be therapeutic.
Oh, for sure. And then you share that meal with loved ones, enjoying good conversation, savoring each bite, slowing down, and really appreciating those simple pleasures.
That's it. So remember, this deep dive was custom made for you based on your interest in the Mediterranean diet and finding a healthier, more balanced way of life. And together we've explored the core principles, the scientific evidence, and even some practical tips to get you started.
It's not just about absorbing information. It's about applying it to your own life
Yeah.
in a way that feels good for you.
Exactly. So as you explore the world of Mediterranean cuisine and lifestyle, just be curious, be adventurous, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. This is your journey, and we're here to support you every step of the way.
And who knows, maybe you'll even inspire some people in your life to join you on this path to a healthier, happier life.
That's what the Duck Dive is all about, learning and exploring together.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences as you delve deeper into this fascinating world. What resonates with you most about the Mediterranean diet? What are your biggest takeaways? And what small changes can you make today to bring a touch of that Mediterranean sunshine into your life?
Remember, even small steps can lead to big changes over time.
Until next time, happy exploring.
And don't forget to share what you discover with us.
We love hearing from you.
Yeah, we're always learning alongside you too.
So, until next time.
Happy exploring, everyone!